Alright class, welcome back. Today is a blast from the past. Hopefully you guys remember, or back when you were in who knows when, 3rd, 4th grade, you learned long division. Today we're going to do long division with polynomials and synthetic division, which will help us a lot with when we're dividing by a binomial, which is actually more of what we'll be doing. So, but first let's review some long division. Let's say I had a number. I'm going to do this off to the side here. I want to divide 577 by 3. Let's review this with the numbers. You need to, figure out what goes into that. How many times does 3 go into 5? It goes into it 1 time, so we put the 1 up here. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. You get 2. Bring down the 7. 3 goes into 27 9 times, which is also a perfect match for that. When you subtract that, you get 0. Bring down the 7. 3 goes into 7 2 times. You get a 6. And then you are left with a 1. What that means is that the answer is 192 with a remainder of 1. The other way to think about that is, since this number got divided by 3, it's 192 with 1 left over that's being divided by 3. Okay, so that's kind of a little refresher on how to long divide. We're going to do this now with polynomials, with x's also. So let's do that here. We have, I'm going to skip 2 lines, so we have room. X squared minus 2x plus 2 divided into 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed. Oh, got to be careful here. Notice how I said placeholders when dividing. Okay, look up here. You have 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed. What's my x squared term? There is none. Make sure you have one here. So 0x squared plus 5x minus 1. Because if you don't have that, you're going to have problems. Alright, so I need to get a 2x to the 4th. How can I do that from x squared? I can multiply that by 2x squared. So now 2x squared, the key is to see how many times you can get something to go into something else. So x squared goes into 2x to the 4th, 2x squared times. This times this is now 2x to the 4th. You have to multiply everything though. 2x squared times negative 2x is a minus 4x cubed. And then we get plus 4x squared. Now remember, you are subtracting here. So this is 0. 3x cubed minus a negative 4 is a 7x cubed. Be careful with that. It's a minus and negative. Here you get 0 minus 4, so you get a minus 4x squared. And we bring down the next piece, which is a plus 5x. Now, I need to get a 7x cubed out of an x squared. Well, I need to multiply the x squared by a 7 and an x. 7x times x squared is 7x cubed. 7x times minus 2x is a minus 14x squared. 7x times 2 is a plus 14x. We're subtracting. Again, be careful when you're subtracting. Think about what you're doing. You have negative 4 minus a negative. So negative 4 plus 14 is a positive 10x squared. 5 minus 14 is a minus 9x. And then we bring down the 1. Alright, we got one more time. I need a 10x squared from an x squared, so I need to multiply that by 10. This becomes minus 20x plus 20. Subtracting again. That's 0. Negative 9 minus a negative 20. So negative 9 plus 20 is a positive 11x. Negative 1 minus 20 is minus 21. This is the remainder. You know you're at the remainder because there's it's a degree less than what you're dividing by. You can't put anything into that and cancel anything out. So this is our remainder. So my final answer is, and I'll write it over here in blue, that when you divide this into this, you get 2x squared plus 7x plus 10 plus the remainder is 11x minus 21 all over what we divided by. Kind of like what we did with the 1/3 on that number problem. That's how you show a remainder. That was what happened, and then we couldn't divide this remainder by that, so we are leaving it as a fraction. Okay, one more long division. You guys should pause the video and try it yourself first, and then see what you can do. Again, do not forget your placeholders. Do not forget your placeholders. Alright, so I have y squared plus y minus 1 divided into y to the 4th. There is no y cubes. There is a 2y squared, a minus y, and a plus 5. Alright, so again, we figure out what goes in here. We need another y squared. Y squared times y squared is y to the 4th. Y squared times y is 1y cubed. Y squared minus 1 is a minus y squared. Subtract, those go away. 0 minus 1 is a minus 1y cubed. 2 minus negative is a positive, so we have a plus 3y squared. And then we have and then we bring down the minus y. Alright, I need a negative 1y cubed, so I need a minus y up here. Negative y. So negative y times y squared is a minus y cubed. Negative y times y is a minus y squared. Negative y times negative 1 is a positive y. Here we go. So, negative 1 minus a negative 1 is 0. 3 minus negative 1 is 4y squared. And negative y minus y is a minus 2y. And finally, we bring down the 5. We have one more division to do, because we still have y squared, so we can do a plus 4. 4 times y squared is 4y squared. 4 times y is plus 4y, and then minus 4. We're subtracting. Those go away. This is a minus 6y. 5 plus 4 is plus 9. And again, this is your remainder. So my final answer is y squared minus y plus 4 plus the remainder of negative 6y plus 9 over what we divided by, which was y squared plus y minus 1. And that's long division. Hopefully you guys kind of remember how to do that. Alright, now what we're going to do though is something that's going to be more useful to you in this chapter. We won't be dividing polynomials in general out, but we will be dividing a lot by a binomial, because as we divide out our factors of x, we will be able to break down our polynomial into factored form, and we can do this using synthetic division. The reason why we use synthetic division is that it's faster, I believe. Well, no, it's faster for sure. But you have to you can only do it with a binomial, which means like x minus 2, x plus 2. And what you're using is the 0 here. So what makes the bottom of this fraction 0? Well, your x value would be 2. So if x minus 2 is the factor, I'm going to divide by plus 2. And here's how you set it up. You have like a bracket, and you put the coefficients of the top part on the first line. So we have a 1, a 2, a negative 6, and a negative 9. So I put a 1 here, a 2 here, a negative 6, and a negative 9. And here's what happens. You bring the first one down. So I'm going to bring the 1 down first. Okay? And here's how it works. You just take the coefficient out in front and multiply it by the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Now you add. So for synthetic division, we add down. So it's the opposite of long division. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Then 8 plus a negative 6 is a 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there, but we'll move on. So negative 9 plus 4 is a negative 5. And in fact, I should say that this isn't actually a 0, because this does not divide nicely into that. You have a remainder. So this is your remainder. And these are the coefficients of your final answer. And it's always 1 degree less than what you started with, because you divided something by a binomial. So we divided something with an x term. So if you take these coefficients, my final answer is x squared instead of x cubed plus 4x plus 2 and then the remainder is the minus 5 over x minus 2. A lot faster than long division. Again, only can be done with a binomial though. Alright, let's do 2 more of those. Again, you need to know this skill. It's really easy. We'll probably do 2 more together in class after when we get back in there tomorrow or over the weekend, depending on when we are. Alright, so again, the setup. The factor here is now negative 2. I make the box. I put all my coefficients in. Again, if there is no like x squared term, you have to put a 0. In this case, we're okay though. And you start by bringing the first number down, and then start multiplying. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Add those down. Negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Bring that down. You get a 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. We add those together, we get a remainder of 0. So this actually divides nicely into this polynomial. So my final answer is x squared minus 3x plus 4. Okay? Again, this will be useful if we want to factor, because now basically what we basically did, when you factor, you're basically dividing by what you're taking out. So if I were to say to factor this, and this was a polynomial or a 0, it comes out nicely. If I want to rewrite it, I know that I have this and the x plus 2, which I took out, and that will give me back to this polynomial up there. Okay, last one. Again, pause the video or stop it if you think you know what you're doing and try it out. Otherwise, follow along. Again, I used a positive 1 because it's x minus 1. Bring the 1 down. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, move that here. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. So this is still negative 2. This is negative 2. This becomes 6. So this one here is weird because there's a 0 term. That just means that since this was x cubed, this is now x squared, x constant, and remainder. So here we go. We got our final answer is x squared. There's no x term. Minus 2 plus 6 over x minus 1. That's my remainder, or the fraction that's left. Okay, so that is synthetic division. Again, a lot quicker than the long division, considering we did 3 problems in less time than it took us to do the 2 problems on the front. So, and we're going to use this on the next lesson more, and I'll show you how important it is.